The arrival, Earth's first contact and initial invasion. The skies above New York City erupted in a dazzling display of light and energy, marking humanity's first undeniable contact with extraterrestrial life. It was July 15, 2047, a date that would forever change the course of human history. The massive ships of the Zarkonian Empire, sleek and otherworldly, cast imposing shadows over Earth's major cities. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, lead astrophysicist at the Global Space Initiative, watched in awe from the observation deck of the IS-2 space station. Her heart raced with a mixture of excitement and trepidation as she recorded the historic moment. "This is it," she whispered to herself. "Everything we've worked for, everything we've dreamed of." But as the minutes ticked by, it became clear that this was no peaceful first contact. The Zarkonian ships began to deploy smaller crafts, sleek and predatory, that streaked towards the planet's surface. Panic erupted in cities worldwide as the reality of an alien invasion set in. In Washington, D.C., President Amara Chen received real-time updates in the Situation Room. Her face, usually composed and confident, now bore the weight of humanity's fate. "What are our options?" she demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding on the screens before her. General Marcus Blackwood, a veteran of countless earthbound conflicts, found himself in uncharted territory. "Madam President, our conventional weapons seem ineffective against their technology. We're looking at a global invasion with technology far beyond our current capabilities." As the Zarkonian forces began their assault, humanity's military might seemed pitiful in comparison. Advanced energy weapons tore through tank armor like paper, while force fields rendered most retaliatory strikes useless. Cities fell in hours, their defenses crumbling under the relentless alien onslaught. In the heart of London, Captain Sarah Harper led her squad through the rubble-strewn streets. The acrid smell of burning buildings and the distant screams of civilians filled the air. "Keep it together, people," she barked, her voice barely audible over the chaos. "We've got civilians to evacuate." As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with a Zarkonian patrol. The aliens stood nearly 8 feet tall, their iridescent scales gleaming in the firelight. Sarah's heart pounded as she raised her rifle, knowing it was likely futile. To her surprise, the alien weaponry seemed to falter momentarily, allowing her team to take cover. "Did you see that?" Private Johnson whispered. "Their tech isn't infallible." Sarah nodded grimly. "Spread the word. We might have a chance if we can exploit these weaknesses." Meanwhile, in a hidden bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, a team of Earth's brightest minds had been assembled. Dr. Raj Patel, a renowned expert in quantum physics, pored over the data streaming in from around the globe. "There's something odd about their technology," he muttered, his fingers flying across holographic displays. "It's advanced, yes, but it's not magic. There are patterns here, consistencies we can study." Next to him, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a specialist in xenobiology, examined footage of the Zarkonian physiology. "Their biology is complex, but not incomprehensible," she noted. "They have vulnerabilities, just like any living being." As the invasion progressed, pockets of resistance began to form. Humanity, faced with extinction, found reserves of strength and ingenuity they never knew they possessed. In the Australian outback, indigenous trackers led guerrilla raids against alien supply lines. In the Amazon rainforest, native tribes used their intimate knowledge of the terrain to ambush Zarkonian patrols. Dr. Rodriguez, having made it back to Earth, found herself working alongside Dr. Patel and Dr. Tanaka. "We need to understand their intentions," she argued. "This isn't just about superior firepower. There's a reason they're here, and if we can figure that out, we might find a way to negotiate or, at the very least, exploit it." The team worked tirelessly, analyzing every scrap of data they could gather. Slowly, a picture began to emerge. The Zarkonians weren't just conquerors. They were resource hunters. Earth's diverse biosphere and mineral wealth had drawn them across the galaxy. President Chen, operating from a mobile command center, received the team's findings with grim determination. "So they're here to strip our planet bare," she said, her voice heavy with the weight of this knowledge. "We're not just fighting for our lives, but for the very future of Earth itself." As the first week of the invasion drew to a close, humanity found itself on the brink. Major cities lay in ruins, governments were in disarray, and millions had perished. Yet, in the face of overwhelming odds, the human spirit remained unbroken. In New Delhi, a group of schoolchildren used their knowledge of local drainage systems to move supplies past Zirconian checkpoints. In Rio de Janeiro, samba dancers used their elaborate costumes to smuggle weapons and medical supplies to resistance fighters. Each small act of defiance, each moment of human creativity and courage began to add up. Captain Harper, now leading a larger resistance cell in Europe, received word of a potential game-changer. "We've identified a weakness in their communication systems," her intelligence officer reported. "It's not much, but it's a start." As the sun set on the 7th day of the invasion, humanity stood bloodied but unbowed. The Zirconians, expecting a swift victory, found themselves embroiled in a conflict unlike any they had faced before. They had the technology, the numbers, and the initial advantage. But they had made one critical error. They had underestimated the sheer tenacity and adaptability of the human race. In labs, in bunkers, and in hidden resistance cells around the world, humans began to rally. They studied their enemy, adapted their strategies, and prepared to show the Zirconians that humanity would not go quietly into the night. The invasion had begun, but the true battle for Earth was just beginning. As darkness fell, the glowing eyes of the Zirconian patrol swept across a seemingly defeated planet. But in the shadows, in the rubble of once great cities, and the depths of unconquered wilderness, humanity plotted, planned, and prepared. The aliens might have won the first round, but the war for Earth was far from over. In the coming days, the Zirconians would learn a harsh lesson. Never underestimate the power of human resilience and ingenuity when pushed to the brink of extinction. The underestimation, alien misconceptions, and human resilience. As the second week of the Zirconian invasion dawned, Supreme Commander Vexlor stood aboard the flagship orbiting Earth, his scaled brow furrowed in frustration. The holographic displays before him showed a planet that, by all accounts, should have been fully subjugated by now. Instead, red dots indicating pockets of human resistance blinked stubbornly across the globe. "How is this possible?" Vexlor demanded, his voice a low growl that sent his subordinates scurrying. "Their technology is primitive, their bodies fragile. They should have surrendered days ago." Science Officer Zalta approached cautiously, her luminescent eyes flickering with a mixture of curiosity and concern. "Supreme Commander, our initial assessments of human physiology and psychology may have been flawed." Vexlor turned, his massive frame towering over Zalta. "Explain." "The humans possess an adaptability we've never encountered before," Zalta began. "Their bodies, while lacking our natural defenses, have shown remarkable resilience. They can function on minimal sleep and sustenance for extended periods. More concerning, their minds seem to become more creative under pressure." On the surface, this resilience was on full display. In the ruins of Chicago, a group of engineers and mechanics had jury-rigged a network of improvised electromagnetic pulse devices. As a Zirconian patrol rounded the corner of a demolished skyscraper, they triggered the device. The aliens' advanced weaponry sputtered and died, leaving them vulnerable to a barrage of conventional human firearms. Miles away in the cornfields of Iowa, farmers used their intimate knowledge of the land to stage hit-and-run attacks on Zirconian supply lines. They appeared from hidden tunnels, struck with surprising precision, and vanished back into the landscape before the aliens could mount an effective response. In orbit, Zalta continued her report. "The humans are using methods we never anticipated. They're turning their perceived weaknesses into strengths. Their diverse cultures and decentralized governments, which we thought would lead to chaos, have instead resulted in a multitude of unique resistance strategies. Vexler's eyes narrowed. You sound almost admiring, Zolta. Need I remind you of our mission? Of course not, Supreme Commander, Zolta replied quickly. I merely suggest that we need to reassess our approach. The humans are not the simple conquest we anticipated. Back on Earth, in the hidden Rocky Mountain bunker, Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her team had made a breakthrough. Look at this, she said excitedly, pointing to a complex series of equations on her holographic display. They're faster than light drive. It's based on principles similar to our theoretical work on wormhole manipulation. Dr. Raj Patil leaned in, his eyes widening. You're right. It's more advanced, certainly, but the underlying physics, we understand this. Dr. Yuki Tanaka joined them, her face lit with excitement. And I've made progress on their biology. Their cellular structure is vulnerable to certain radioactive isotopes we can easily produce. It's not a silver bullet, but it's a start. As the scientists worked feverishly to turn their discoveries into actionable intelligence, the human resistance continued to grow and evolve. In the megacities of Asia, hackers launched increasingly sophisticated cyberattacks on Zirconian systems. What started as simple disruptions grew into complex viruses that mimicked and corrupted alien code. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous tribes combined their ancient knowledge with modern guerrilla tactics. They used the dense canopy to conceal movements, luring Zirconian patrols into carefully laid traps. The aliens, used to open warfare on barren planets, found themselves outmaneuvered in the lush, unforgiving jungle. President Amarachin, now operating from a series of secret locations, received regular updates on these developments. Despite the heavy losses and the destruction of major infrastructure, a spark of hope began to grow. We're not beaten yet, she told her advisors. Every day we resist is a day we learn more about our enemy. And every day, more of our people join the fight. General Marcus Blackwood, his uniform dusty from recent forays to the front lines, nodded in agreement. The Zirconians made a critical error, Madam President. They thought this would be a simple smash-and-grab operation. They weren't prepared for a prolonged conflict against an enemy that refuses to quit. In London, Captain Sarah Harper's resistance cell had grown into a formidable force. They had successfully reverse-engineered some of the alien technology, creating crude but effective energy weapons. As she led a raid on a Zirconian command post, Sarah couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Her team moved with precision, human ingenuity combining seamlessly with alien tech. Remember, she told her squad as they prepared to breach the post, they might have the fancy guns, but we have something they don't. The will to protect our home at any cost. The raid was a success, yielding not only valuable intelligence, but also a captured Zirconian officer. As they secured their prisoner, Private Johnson noticed something odd. Captain, he called out, look at this. The alien, it's afraid. Sarah approached, studying the captive's alien features. Despite the physiological differences, the emotion was unmistakable. Fear, confusion, and something else, respect. The Zirconian met her gaze, and in that moment, Sarah realized a fundamental truth. For all their advanced technology, these invaders were not gods. They were mortal, fallible beings who could be defeated. As news of successful resistance efforts spread through hidden human networks, morale began to soar. In the devastated streets of Tokyo, civilians emerged from hiding to aid resistance fighters. In the vast steppes of Russia, nomadic herders used their knowledge of the land to guide special forces to alien weak points. Each small victory, each moment of human courage and creativity, added up. The Zirconians found themselves facing not just a military opposition, but a planet-wide insurgency fueled by the indomitable human spirit. Aboard the Zirconian flagship, Supreme Commander Vexler received increasingly concerning reports. Supply lines were under constant attack, communication networks were compromised, and morale among the invasion forces was plummeting. The easy victory he had promised his superiors seemed further away with each passing day. Perhaps Zalta ventured cautiously. We should consider opening diplomatic channels. These humans have proven to be. Silence. Vexlor roared. We are the Zarkonian Empire. We do not negotiate with primitive species. Intensify the attacks. Raise their cities to the ground if we must. I will not be defeated by these humans. But as Vexlor issued his orders for increased aggression, a cold feeling of doubt began to creep into his mind. Had they truly underestimated humanity to such a degree? And if so, what other surprises did these resilient, resourceful beings have in store? As the second week of the invasion drew to a close, the battle for Earth hung in a precarious balance. The Zarkonians still held the technological advantage, but humanity's spirit remained unbroken. In laboratories, in hidden bases, and in the hearts of every human resisting the invasion, a simple truth began to take hold. This was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a fight to show the galaxy the true strength of humanity. The Zarkonians had made their move. Now, it was humanity's turn to show these alien invaders exactly what they were capable of when pushed to the brink. The turning point. Humanity's unconventional tactics. As the third week of the invasion began, Earth's resistance entered a new phase. The initial shock had worn off, replaced by a grim determination that spread across the globe. Humanity, faced with extinction, was about to show the Zarkonians why it was a grave mistake to underestimate them. In the Rocky Mountain bunker, Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a holographic display, addressing a global network of scientists, military leaders, and resistance fighters. We've cracked their communication encryption, she announced, her voice tight with excitement. It's not just a tactical advantage, it's a window into their entire operational structure. Dr. Raj Patel stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with the light of discovery. We've also made progress on their propulsion technology. We can't replicate it yet, but we can disrupt it. We're working on a device that could temporarily ground their ships. President Amara Chen, her face gaunt but determined on one of the video feeds, nodded. This is the breakthrough we've been waiting for. General Blackwood, how soon can we implement these findings? The grizzled general leaned forward, his voice gravelly but tinged with hope. We've got resistance cells in every corner of the globe, Madam President. Give us 48 hours to disseminate this intel, and we'll hit them with everything we've got. As the meeting concluded, a new energy pulsed through the human resistance. For the first time since the invasion began, they had a fighting chance. In orbit, aboard the Zarkonian flagship, Supreme Commander Vexlor faced mounting pressure. Our ground forces are reporting increased resistance, a subordinate reported nervously. The humans seem to be anticipating our moves. Vexlor's eyes narrowed. Impossible. Their primitive technology couldn't possibly. He was cut off by a sudden lurch of the ship. Alarms blared as the vessel's systems flickered. We're under attack, another officer shouted. Multiple Earth-based energy pulses targeting our propulsion systems. For the first time since the invasion began, real fear crept into Vexlor's voice. How? How could they have developed such technology so quickly? On the surface, the counterattack was in full swing. In the skies above New York, swarms of retrofitted civilian drones, guided by hackers using stolen Zarkonian encryption codes, overwhelmed the alien fighters. The small, agile Earthcraft darted between skyscrapers, leading the larger alien ships into clever traps. Captain Sarah Harper, now commanding a mixed unit of soldiers and civilian volunteers in London, watched in awe as a Zarkonian cruiser, its engines sputtering from the effects of the new human weapon, crashed into the Thames. Press the advantage, she shouted, leading her team towards the downed ship. Show them what happens when they mess with Earth. Across the globe, similar scenes unfolded. In the mountains of Afghanistan, local fighters used their knowledge of hidden caves to ambush Zarkonian patrols, their weapons now augmented with reverse-engineered alien tech. In the Australian outback, Aboriginal trackers guided Special Forces teams to hidden alien bases, using a combination of ancient wisdom and modern warfare to devastating effect. But it wasn't just military might that turned the tide. Humanity's greatest strength, its diversity and creativity, came to the forefront. In Silicon Valley, a team of programmers who had evaded the initial invasion unleashed a virus that mimicked Zarkonian command protocols. Alien ships received conflicting orders, some even turning their weapons on each other in the confusion. In the forests of Germany, a group of environmentalists used their deep understanding of local ecosystems to create biological weapons that targeted the Zarkonians' unique physiology. Spores harmless to Earth life caused havoc in alien respiratory systems. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, working tirelessly in the bunker lab, made another crucial breakthrough. Their biology, she explained to her colleagues, her voice hoarse from exhaustion, but vibrant with excitement. It's vulnerable to certain frequencies of sound. We can disorient them, maybe even incapacitate them, without harming humans or Earth's ecosystems. This discovery led to one of the war's most unusual weapons. In Rio de Janeiro, as a major Zarkonian force approached the city, they were met not with conventional weapons, but with music. Massive speakers, salvaged from carnival floats and rigged to experimental power sources, blasted a carefully calibrated cacophony of samba rhythms and synthesized tones. The alien forces fell into disarray, their movements erratic, their communication scrambled. As news of victories spread, humanity's morale soared. People emerged from hiding to join the fight, bringing their unique skills and perspectives to the resistance. Farmers used their knowledge of the land to hide troops and supplies. Teachers organized education centers to rapidly train civilians in new technologies. Artists created powerful propaganda that boosted morale and confounded alien translators. In orbit, Vexilor watched in disbelief as his carefully planned invasion crumbled. How? He demanded of Zalta. How are they doing this? The science officer's reply was tinged with a grudging admiration. It appears, Supreme Commander, that we fundamentally misunderstood human nature, their adaptability, their creativity under pressure. It's unlike anything we've encountered. They're not just fighting back. They're evolving their tactics faster than we can respond. On Earth, President Chen addressed the United Nations, or what remained of it, via a secure global broadcast. Today, we have shown our invaders the true strength of humanity, she declared, her voice ringing with pride. We are not defeated. We will never be defeated. To the Zarkonians, I say this. You have awakened a force beyond your understanding. Earth is not your conquest. It is your reckoning. As the third week of the invasion drew to a close, the balance of power had shifted dramatically. Zarkonian ships retreated from Earth's atmosphere, regrouping to reassess their strategy. On the ground, alien forces found themselves increasingly isolated and outmaneuvered. But the war was far from over. In hidden bases across the planet, humans began to prepare for the next phase of the conflict. Scientists pored over captured alien technology, refining their understanding and developing new weapons. Military strategists planned not just for defense, but for taking the fight to the stars. In the Rocky Mountain bunker, Dr. Rodriguez stood before a prototype faster-than-light drive, reversed engineered from captured Zarkonian tech. We're not just fighting for our survival anymore, she told her team, her eyes gleaming with the light of discovery and determination. We're fighting for our place in the galaxy. As night fell on the 21st day of the invasion, humanity looked to the stars with new eyes. The Zarkonians had come to conquer a primitive world. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant. The message was clear. Earth was not to be underestimated, and humanity was ready to take its place among the stars, whether the galaxy was ready or not. The tide had turned, but the greatest challenges and opportunities still lay ahead. Humanity, united as never before, prepared to write the next chapter in its history, a chapter that would echo across the cosmos. The counteroffensive. Earth fights back. As the fourth week of the Zarkonian invasion dawned, Earth stood at a pivotal moment in its history. The initial alien onslaught had been repelled, but humanity knew that this was merely the beginning of a greater conflict. With newfound confidence and rapidly advancing technology, Earth prepared to take the fight to the stars. In a hardened bunker beneath the ruins of Geneva, the newly formed Earth Defense Council convened its first meeting. Representatives from every nation, chosen for their expertise rather than political clout, gathered to plan humanity's next move. President Amara Chen, her resolve strengthened by recent victories, addressed the assembly. "We've proven that we can defend our home. Now we must show the Zarkonians and the galaxy at large that humanity is a force to be reckoned with." Dr. Elena Rodriguez stepped forward, her holographic display flickering to life. "Thanks to our breakthroughs in reverse engineering Zarkonian technology, we're ready to unveil our first faster-than-light capable vessel." The display showed a sleek ship, clearly of human design but incorporating alien elements. "We call it the Phoenix." A murmur of excitement rippled through the council. General Marcus Blackwood, now sporting a cybernetic eye from a recent battle, spoke up. "How soon can we deploy?" "The prototype is ready for its maiden voyage," Dr. Rodriguez replied. "But this isn't just about military might. We're proposing a mission that combines our greatest strengths: our scientific curiosity, our adaptability, and our indomitable spirit." The plan, as it unfolded, was audacious. The Phoenix would lead a small fleet of Earth's new hybrid ships, not just to attack the Zarkonian forces, but to make contact with other alien civilizations. Earth would announce its presence to the galaxy not as a victim, but as a new power emerging onto the cosmic stage. As preparations for the mission accelerated, Earth continued to evolve. The integration of alien technology led to rapid advancements in every field. Devastated cities were rebuilt using new materials that could self-repair. Clean energy, derived from Zarkonian power sources, began to replace fossil fuels. In orbit, the first sections of Earth's new defense grid took shape. A network of satellites, armed with weapons that could repel capital ships, stood as a testament to humanity's determination to never again be caught unprepared. Captain Sarah Harper, her reputation growing with each victory against the invaders, was chosen to lead the Phoenix's military contingent. As she toured the ship for the first time, she marveled at how far they'd come in such a short time. From barely understanding their tech to building our own ships, she mused to her XO. "Humanity sure knows how to adapt." Her team was a reflection of Earth's new unity. A Chinese tactical officer, a Brazilian engineer, a Nigerian communications expert, and dozens more from every corner of the globe. Each brought unique perspectives and skills, creating a crew that epitomized the best of humanity. Dr. Yuki Tanaka joined the mission as chief cynobiologist. Her groundbreaking work on Zarkonian physiology had been crucial in turning the tide of the ground war. Now, she prepared to study new forms of life across the galaxy. "We go not just as warriors," she told her team, "but as explorers and diplomats." As the day of launch approached, a palpable excitement gripped the planet. This was more than a military mission. It was humanity's first intentional step into the galactic community. In a surprising move that sparked intense debate, President Chen announced that a small group of captured Zarkonians would be brought along, not as prisoners, but as potential intermediaries. Among them was Zalta, the former science officer whose growing respect for humanity had not gone unnoticed. On launch day, millions around the world watched as the Phoenix and its small fleet rose from a hidden base in the Atacama Desert. As the ships accelerated, new engines flared to life, tearing holes in the fabric of space itself. In a flash of light that outshone the sun, humanity leaped to the stars. Their first destination was a Zarkonian outpost on a small moon orbiting a gas giant in a nearby star system. As they dropped out of faster-than-light travel, the crew of the Phoenix held their breath. This was the moment of truth. Multiple Zarkonian vessels detected, the tactical officer reported, her voice tense. "They're powering up weapons." Captain Harper's voice was steady as she gave the order. Launch our new Siren probes. Let's see if Dr. Tanaka's sonic weapon works as well in space as it did on Earth. The small, unassuming probes streaked towards the Zarkonian ships. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, the alien vessels began to drift, their systems disrupted by precisely calibrated sound waves transmitted through their own hulls. It worked, Dr. Tanaka exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. Their crews should be incapacitated, not harmed. All ships, move in, Captain Harper commanded. Let's show them what Earth is capable of. The battle, if it could be called that, was over in minutes. The human fleet disabled and boarded the Zarkonian ships with an efficiency that would have been unthinkable just weeks ago. As Captain Harper stepped onto the bridge of the alien flagship, she was met not with defiance, but with shock and a growing fear. You? How? The Zarkonian commander sputtered. This technology, these tactics. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Let's just say we're quick learners. Now, I believe it's time we had a chat about humanity's place in this galaxy of yours. As news of the victory spread, the Phoenix and its fleet pushed deeper into space. They encountered other alien civilizations, some hostile, some curious, some eager to establish diplomatic relations with this upstart species that had so thoroughly defeated the feared Zarkonian Empire. With each encounter, humanity's reputation grew. They were not just warriors, but diplomats, traders, and explorers. Their unique blend of adaptability, creativity, and determination made them valuable allies and formidable opponents. Back on Earth, the scars of invasion began to heal. Cities were rebuilt, stronger and more advanced than before. The threat of alien aggression had united humanity in ways no one thought possible. Old conflicts faded as people realized that their differences were trivial compared to the vastness of the cosmos. As the fourth week since the invasion came to a close, humanity found itself standing on the threshold of a new era. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger. They had taken their first steps into a larger universe, not as conquerors or victims, but as equals. In the command center of the Phoenix, as they prepared to make first contact with yet another alien species, Captain Harper looked out at the starfield before her. You know, she said to her crew, I almost feel sorry for the Zarkonians. They thought they were invading a primitive planet. Instead, they gave us the keys to the stars. As if in response, the ship's faster-than-light drive hummed to life, propelling humanity further into its new frontier. The message to the galaxy was clear. Earth was here, humanity had arrived, and the universe would never be the same again. The reckoning, lessons learned, and a new galactic order. As Earth marked the 2-month anniversary of the Zarkonian invasion, the galaxy was abuzz with news of humanity's meteoric rise. The Phoenix and its fleet had become legendary, their exploits spreading across interstellar communication channels. Humanity, once considered a primitive species confined to a single planet, was now a name spoken with a mixture of awe, curiosity, and trepidation in the far reaches of the cosmos. On a distant world, in a grand hall filled with representatives from 100 alien species, Captain Sarah Harper stood before the Galactic Council. The irony wasn't lost on her. Mere weeks ago, humanity hadn't even known such a body existed. Now they were making their case for membership. Esteemed members of the Council, Sarah began, her voice steady and clear. We come before you not just as warriors who repelled an invasion, but as a species eager to take our place among the stars. We offer not just our strength, but our creativity, our adaptability, and our unwavering spirit. As she spoke, holographic displays showed scenes from Earth's rapid advancement. Cities rebuilt with technology that blended human ingenuity with alien engineering. The first human colonies taking root on Mars and Europa. Ships exploring the solar system and beyond. We have learned much in a short time, Sarah continued, about the vastness of the universe, about the diversity of life, and about ourselves. We've learned that our greatest strength lies not in technology or weapons, but in our ability to unite in the face of adversity. The council chambers fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. Humanity's rise had shifted the balance of power in the galaxy. Some saw opportunity, others threat. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the changes wrought by the invasion and its aftermath were profound. The United Earth Government, formed in the crucible of war, now worked to guide humanity's expansion into space. Old national borders, while not erased, had become less significant in the face of cosmic challenges and opportunities. In the rebuilt New York, now a shining example of human-alien hybrid architecture, Dr. Elena Rodriguez led a team of scientists from a dozen worlds. Their mission, to unravel the mysteries of the universe and push the boundaries of science further than ever before. The Zarkonian invasion was a catastrophe. She told a group of eager students, many of them the first generation to grow up in this new era. But it was also a catalyst. It forced us to look beyond our petty differences and realize our true potential. Across the planet, and on fledgling colonies, this sentiment was echoed. The threat of extinction had given humanity a new perspective. Environmental concerns, once debated endlessly, were now addressed with urgency and innovative solutions. Poverty and disease, while not eradicated, were tackled with renewed vigor and advanced technology. But not all was peaceful. The rapid militarization and technological advancement of Earth had made some alien species nervous. Isolated incidents of conflict flared up on the fringes of human-explored space. Each was met with a measured but firm response, further cementing humanity's reputation as a force to be reckoned with. In orbit around a gas giant in the Zarkonian home system, the Phoenix faced off against a fleet of warships. But this time, it wasn't a battle. Supreme Commander Vexlor, once the architect of Earth's invasion, now stood on his flagship's bridge, preparing to surrender formally to the human delegation. As Captain Harper's shuttle docked with the Zarkonian vessel, she reflected on the journey that had brought them here. Who would have thought, she mused to her team, that we'd be accepting the surrender of an interstellar empire when just months ago we were fighting for survival in the streets of our own cities. The surrender ceremony was broadcast across Earth and to every corner of explored space. It was more than just the end of a conflict. It was a statement to the galaxy. Humanity would defend itself, fiercely if necessary, but it also sought peace and cooperation. As Vexlor handed over the ceremonial sword of surrender, his eyes met Sarah's. "You have proven us wrong in every way," he said, his voice a mixture of resignation and grudging respect. "The galaxy will never be the same." Sarah nodded solemnly. "No, it won't. But change brings opportunity. Your people have much to offer. We hope that in time, we can move past this conflict and work together for a better future." This spirit of reconciliation, tempered by caution, became the hallmark of human diplomacy. Earth's leaders, advised by the likes of Dr. Yuki Tanaka, worked tirelessly to establish peaceful relations with as many alien species as possible. Trade routes were established, cultural exchanges began, and joint scientific missions were launched. Yet, humanity never forgot the lessons of the invasion. The Earth Defense Force, under the guidance of the now Admiral Marcus Blackwood, remained vigilant. A network of early warning systems and defense platforms ensured that Earth would never again be caught unprepared. As the first year since the invasion drew to a close, humanity stood at the dawn of a new age. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger, more united, and with a clear purpose. The stars, once distant and unreachable, now beckoned with the promise of adventure, discovery, and challenges yet to come. In the heart of the Milky Way, on a space station that served as a melting pot for dozens of species, a young human diplomat shared a drink with a Zarkonian cultural attaché. Their conversation, unthinkable just a year ago, symbolized the new reality. "You know," the human said, raising her glass in a toast, "in a way we should thank you. Your invasion forced us to reach for the stars." The Zarkonian chuckled, a sound that would have once terrified the human. Perhaps the universe should thank us too. It was in need of shaking up, and you humans seemed to excel at that. As they laughed together, ships of all shapes and sizes passed by the station's panoramic windows. Among them, sleek Earth vessels prepared for their next journey of exploration. Humanity had found its place among the stars, and the greatest adventures were yet to come. The invasion that was meant to subjugate Earth had instead launched humanity into a new era of cosmic citizenship. The galaxy watched, wondered, and waited to see what this young, vibrant species would do next. One thing was certain: the future would be anything but boring.